Cause and effect is intuitively obvious to most. It is curious, though, that such a readily available intuition should be considered hidden enough such that it appears in the Kybalion as one of the Hermetic principles. The Kybalion tells us in simple terms that, quote, "The great sixth Hermetic principle, the principle of cause and effect, embodies the truth that law pervades the universe, that nothing happens by chance, that chance is merely a term indicating cause existing but not recognizable or perceived, that phenomena is continuous without break or exception," end quote. The reason for this is that while on the surface the Hermetic principle of cause and effect does include the common concept of causation, it is in fact more primarily concerned with cause and effect on a much deeper level. As the Kybalion states, there are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. In this video, I hope to briefly explain the importance of this principle and how it relates to our understanding of the universe. Within this series, we have gone over how things that appear to be supernatural do not violate the laws of nature. Well, this is true on all levels of reality. This is because the causality Hermeticism is concerned with is not primarily so much the mundane cause and effect of ordinary mechanical laws, but rather that of causes and effects occurring between levels of reality. Because of this fact, it is directly related to the principle of correspondence, which describes those levels of reality. The explanation of cause and effect follows as an extension of the explanation of correspondence. In our previous video on the mechanism of miracles, we showed how miracles do not violate the laws of nature. This is primarily due to the metaphysical fact that miracles are merely described by more fundamental laws of nature, rather than merely surface level laws. Furthermore, we explained that the world we see is not material, but it is actually a simulation produced by a deeper level of reality called a quantum probability space, which physicists call Hilbert space. The viewer then saw that when quantum cognition is combined with this, then this deeper level of reality possesses a mental nature in which our own minds take part. Furthermore, we explained how this deeper layer of reality is actually Jung's collective subconscious, and it contains archetypes and forms. These archetypes are the mental programming behind the physical plane, and that these archetypes correspond with the contents of the physical world. The principle of cause and effect takes this one step further. If the contents and occurrences of the physical plane correspond to the archetypes and occurrences in the mental world, then two changes in the mental world would and should correspond to changes in the physical world. Given that the mental and spiritual planes are more fundamental than the physical world, it follows that these changes should be causative as well. In fact, one could easily see how this could account for such phenomena as telekinesis. If one's inner mental state is a quantum state as quantum cognition would suggest, it could in principle be entangled with the wave function behind some external object. If one were to then focus mental intent on the programming behind that object, one could in principle move it. This is no different than how objects can move probabilistically in quantum tunneling, only that due to the mental nature of the wave function, the tunneling would be directed through mental intention. This sort of telekinesis phenomena would be a good test of cause and effect, as it would operate on the same physics. Exactly such tests have been done by the Global Consciousness Project. In these studies, random number generators are distributed in various locations across the world, and produce constant streams of random numbers day after day for years. These random number generators are based on the radioactive decay of atoms, which in the quantum probabilistic process is truly random. However, during significant events which draw the focus of public consciousness, the numbers recorded from the random number generators spike beyond what we would expect if it were not causally correlation. During the events of September 9/11, 2001, for instance, one such significant spike was recorded at odds with 1 in 35. The 9/11 events is not sufficient as proof of telekinesis by itself. The Global Consciousness Project has run trials continuously over the length of its project, however, and has gotten many results from different events. The cumulative result of doing this is actually achieved result of 7.31 sigma. It should be noted again that this takes 5 sigma for something to be scientifically proven, and that the odds of something occurring at 7 sigma by pure chance is 1 in a trillion. This means firstly that the telekinesis phenomena observed by the Global Consciousness Project is more certain than the existence of the Higgs boson. If the viewer believes in the discovery of the Higgs boson by the Large Hadron Collider based on the scientific evidence for it, then they should too also believe in the existence of the telekinesis phenomena for the same reason. This would rule any reason for not believing in it as being unjustified metaphysical bias. Secondly, it would mean that the odds of the telekinesis effect measured by the Global Consciousness Project of not occurring is greater than that of 1 in a trillion. However, even with this evidence, many scientists still doubt this reality. The reason is because there is no scientific theory which can explain this, and so the case seems mysterious. However, we have gone over in this series how the Hermetic metaphysics can explain this phenomena, and so one should not reject this evidence for the simple reason of not understanding its underlying mechanism. Thus, the principle of cause and effect can be considered to be scientifically grounded if one rejects irrational biases. Now, of course, when one discusses the principle of cause and effect, there is the issue of free will and quantum probability, both of which are said to float causation. In fact, we do see such phenomena, but these phenomena go mostly unnoticed by the individual. And due to the fallen state, our minds lack access to the larger collective inner mental plane, and therefore our minds are somewhat disassociated and separated from the rest of the collective inner mental plane, and it is why we are not able to have any direct influence over our environment. However, in our next video, we will go over how the physics of free will, as well as how the physics of synchronicity, and how they relate to the principle of cause and effect.